So Trev, the question I was gonna ask you in general, because you said women don't control access to sex in general, and men don't control access to relationships, right?
I didn't say in general. I said it can be. So depending on what type of man you are, you probably control access to sex, because you probably said a lot more no's and probably got to do what you want. So in that situation, you wouldn't say women control access to sex. And as far as marriage, definitely not men.
But men disqualify me on the regular because they say my experience is completely different than the majority of men. So I would be an outlier. Men who have my experience would be an outlier. To be fair, my experience has been more in line with women's when it comes to sexual access. But in general, I think that most men are the ones that pressure women for sex before the woman is pressuring you. And most women are the ones that pressure men for relationship as opposed to the men pressuring them for relationships. You would disagree with that?
I said marriage, right?
Marriage. What are we doing?
Marriage. All right. Question. So you gotta sit here. You gotta talk to her father. You gotta get on your knee and fucking beg, and she could say no and walk away, which you've seen happen. How the fuck does that equate to men controlling access? When we sitting on our knees begging a woman to marry us, we have to ask her, and she can say yes or no. Right?
That's ritualistic. That's a ritual.
Right? It's a ritual, but women, not just ritually, but women in real life say no.
The qualification to get to that ritual is the actual control. Like, so yeah, in that sense, it's an act of what would be deemed, you could even deem it submissiveness. That would be an act of a man being in a submissive position, right? But the qualification to get to that point is the thing that men generally control, which is the next tier of relationship. Being men control the original tier of relationships in general too. You would disagree?
Monkey wrench in that.
All right, no. So wait, Marcus. Let me. Let's bring some quick scenarios into this. Let's say you got a dime, right? She does what she does, and she does everything that men would want, right? Do you think that average men are going to line up to her if they have access to it? Do you think average men are going to line up to her and possibly compete for her?
Yes, but married to her? The men that she would seriously consider marrying, she's more than likely going to have to go jump through hoops to get that man.
No, but what if she likes average men?
If she does, that would be, how many dimes do you know that really just go for average men? That's again an outlier.
All right, so then let's do this. Let's do average to average. Average man versus average woman, right? Let's go with the masses. Let's go with the median. Let's do that. So your average man has to get on his knee and ask a woman. The average man has to try to court this woman to be in a relationship. The average man, because of scarcity of pussy, in all honesty, is going to try to lock a woman down. That's how men are. Your average man doesn't have that much access to sex, so they would want to marry a woman to have in-house pussy or whatever else. The average man, that's what it is. So that's why I say we can't really go and tell everyone that women control access to marriage, because the man on average is getting down on his knees begging a woman to marry him, and she has the power to say yes or no.
Also, I could throw a monkey wrench in that real quick. I'm white. I could throw a monkey wrench in that.
Most scenarios.
Here's the tripped out part though. The only reason why men control access to it is because women refuse to propose.
No, it ain't.
If women, I will be willing to make the argument. If more women were willing to propose, and we say this all the time, if women decided to actually approach, they would get better results. So I would make the argument that if women were willing to propose, they would probably wind up in more marriages than not.
You said what happened with Jim Jones?
If hold on, wait. Now, if they sought their own level,
they would
have to, because the problem is that
men all the damn time. Like, that's come on, bro. Then what are we
doing? There's a difference between an ultimatum and, because a lot of the times they ultimatum men that don't actually want marriage. But if women started to seek their own level, because you have to remember, if you look at the chart for what women go after and what they all look at, and then then the rest of the dudes are just not people. But if you to Trev's example, if average women started reaching across the aisle and proposing to the average men and chasing down the average men, they will probably yield better results.
All right, I got one more. I got one more. I got one more. In negotiating, the person who has more control over the negotiating, all our businessmen and businesswomen, the person who wants it less, right? Has the control, right?
Yes.
All right.
Who wants
great.
sex more, men or women, generally?
No. Well, look, listen. We're talking about marriage, not sex per se now. Now we're talking about marriage. So the men. So look. Wait. We talked about this just tonight. How men want the marriage more, right? We talked about that. We just found out that more men want to get married and more women leave marriages. So it's obvious that women care less about marriage than men. So how is it, if they want it less than we do, that we are controlling marriage?
So men grow up dreaming about getting married. According to these women, they don't believe in that anymore.
Most men,
I know for a fact most men don't grow up dreaming to get married.
They don't have to grow up to dream about it at a certain point.
Do women grow up dreaming about it?
Even if they do, they don't have to grow up because
they are socially engineered to.
The numbers still say that there are more men that desire marriage and children than women at this current moment. Whether the woman grew up women grew up and dreamed about it and the dude did not, at this current junction in life, there are more men that desire marriage and children than women do.
Yeah, but the reason why it wouldn't work for women if they started in droves proposing. The reason why most of them wouldn't get married is because they already busting it open. They would have to actually marry before they would actually have to marry before they carry, or they would have to actually keep access to their vagina.
So basically, if they control access to both, they could
control access to if they could control it, that means like they can't be influenced or persuaded to bust it open or tempted to bust it open. And there's a lot of guys that got some game out here that just gonna make them drop them draws.
So Trev, is masculinity
even if
hold on, y'all cut Marcus off. Let him go.
I want to respond because Trev about to ask you something. I just wanted to respond to Bruiser real quick. Even if she did, think about it this way.
We can talk
even if she, like, say for instance, we look at it like she busted open for the dude that's a 9 because he got the game out of this century. If she saw, if she and he was able to bust it open, and she busted open for him. If she sought her own level, if she sought her own level, she would still have a high chance of still getting married. Even if she did, yes, she would, bro. She would, bro.
She don't have any leverage. You gotta have leverage.
What are you basing this on?
This is basic fundamentals.
You saying the average woman don't have leverage over the average man?
A woman who give away her vagina for free don't have any leverage
over the average man.
It don't matter. I don't give a damn what man it is. If you can give away your vagina for free for nothing in return, you'll have lost all of your power.
What are you basing this on? It's not even based in reality.
It is reality, bro.
It's not.
Bro, it's reality.
That's not how the real world works.
A woman's vagina is her leverage. She can use it to climb the corporate ladder.
I would have even accepted your argument if you said against the average man. You said
it doesn't matter the level. Man, it is her vagina is her leverage, bro. A man's protection is his leverage, his provision.
So you telling me, if
the woman's greatest power is to bring forth life, and she uses her vagina to do that. She's a vessel.
Let me get the question out.
It is her leverage, bro. It's nothing in the world.
Let me get the question out. So you telling me if she busted open for the 9 or the 10 dude?
It doesn't matter what.
Wait, bro. You gotta wait for the question.
Go ahead.
If she busted open for the 9 or 10 dude, she couldn't leverage and say, I'm not having sex with the 2 until you marry me?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not talking about virginity. You're talking about she's switching to a 2.
Talking about
I'm talking about period. I'm talking about period. If she give up her vagina to the 2, she still loses her leverage.
That's not what I said. I said, are you telling me that if she busted open for the 10, she couldn't go to the 2 and say, I'm not giving you none until you marry me? And he wouldn't do it.
You're making my point.
No, I'm asking you a question. Just answer the question. If she gave it up to the 10, could she go to the 2 and say, I'm not giving it up to you until you marry me, and she could get a marriage out of that?
She can get married. But you miss my point. She did not leverage her vagina against the 2 never got the vagina. I'm saying if she give up the vagina, listen to my words.
Oh, okay.
If she give up her vagina, she loses her leverage. She never gave it up to the 2.
Okay,
When you brought a whole nother man into it, you dismantled the logic of the argument.
Oh no, now I understand your argument. Basically, you saying once she gives up the draws to the dude that she's trying to leverage her vagina against, that's when she loses leverage.
Yeah, because the 2 could have charisma out of this world. And
okay, I thought you were arguing something. I thought you were arguing something else.
His game, that motherfucker could be a comedian. He could be like a Michael Blackston and just have all this bread, or whatever, or just he just got game. He just fun to be around, and he can bust down a 10. I'm saying he's not gonna be compelled to marry her if he already got the milk from the cow. That's just the game, bro.
But
women,
no, I was making a completely different argument. I would. Because what I was saying was that a woman could leverage both.
So
she could say, I'm not having sex with you until you marry, and then say, I'm only gonna marry the person that I can like if she control access to the sex.
I'm gonna tell you, even if she has the leverage, even if the man, I'm gonna tell you, if the man don't want to marry her, he'll be like, well, I would go fuck with somebody else. I'm not gonna be, he's not gonna bottleneck himself to her.